generation, who between them have now won 100 world ranking titles. Quite remarkable.
75.
And there is the celebration. There's his son Pierce.
Manchester's Central Convention Complex hosted the 2025 Tour Championship final on Sunday night. A best-of-19 frame showdown between two of snooker's most decorated champions. John Higgins, the 49-year-old Scottish veteran, faced four-time world champion Mark Selby in what would become one of the most dramatic finals in recent snooker history.
Generation, who between them have now won 100 world ranking titles. Quite remarkable.
75.
And there is the celebration. There's his son Pierce.
Higgins entered the match fresh from his World Open victory in Yushan, China on March 1st, where he defeated Joe O'Connor 10-9. This marked his first ranking title in 4 years, ending a drought that had seen the Wizard of Wishaw drop to 13th in the world rankings before climbing back to 6th. The first session saw Higgins display vintage form. Higgins wins frame 1 by 72-34. Selby responds with a tournament-high 135 break in frame 2. In frames 3 to 6, Higgins dominates with breaks of 102, 94, and another 102. After just 90 minutes, Higgins led 5-1. The Scots' precision potting and tactical play appeared unstoppable. His two-century breaks, 102, 102, and near-century, 94, demonstrated why he remains among the game's elite despite nearing his 50th birthday. The momentum shifted dramatically as Selby mounted one of his trademark comebacks. Selby takes frame by 68-41. He made a flawless 112 break in frame 8. Evening session begins with Selby continuing his charge. Frame 9, 78-8. Frame 10, 82-0. Frame 11, 71-35. Frame 12, 119 break, his second century of the match. Frame 13, 65-23. From 5-1 down, Selby won 7 consecutive frames to lead 8-5. During this stretch, he amassed 767 points to Higgins' mere 66, complete dominance that left commentators and fans stunned. At 8-5 down, facing one of snooker's toughest competitors, Higgins summoned one of the greatest comebacks of his 31-year professional career. Frame 14, Higgins' 110 break, his third century of the match, reduces deficit to 8-6. Frame 15, a tight safety battle. Higgins prevails 67-52. Frame 16, 84 break levels the match at 8-8. Frame 17, another tense frame. Higgins edges ahead 9-8. Frame 18 seals victory with a magnificent 132 clearance, his fourth century of the match. The final 5 frames saw Higgins restrict Selby to just 18 points total, an astonishing defensive display against one of the game's best tacticians. The match set several notable marks, 8 century breaks combined, tying the record for a best-of-19 match. Higgins, 102, 102, 110, 132. Selby, 135, 112, 136, 119. Higgins' 132 clearance was the highest break of the final. His 144 against Barry Hawkins in the semifinals earned the £10,000 high break prize. The victory brought significant rewards, £150,000 winner's prize, Higgins' largest payday since the 2021 Players' Championship. Additional £10,000 for high break, second ranking title in 2 months, following £142,500 at the World Open. Moves to 5th in the one-year ranking list. This marks a remarkable turnaround for Higgins, who had considered retirement during his 4-year title drought. ITV's Rob Walker conducted the post-match interview that would become one of snooker's most memorable moments. "You are playing a monster of a player," Higgins said, voice already wavering. "To be 5-1 up and to be frozen out to be 8-5 behind, you don't come back and win 5 in a row against Mark Selby normally." He continued, "It is my best ever win. Never mind world titles or UK titles. He's an unbelievable champion and my best ever win." When Walker mentioned Higgins' wife and children watching in the crowd, the 4-time world champion broke down completely. Tears streamed down his face as he struggled to speak. The interview ended with Walker embracing Higgins in a heartfelt moment witnessed by millions. Earlier in the exchange, Higgins had said, "You never know if these games are ever going to come around again. In the last 3 or 4 years, I was probably doubting myself very much. So to actually get over the hill and then to be back challenging these great players, I am very proud." The Leicester player showed why he's considered one of snooker's true sportsmen. John was incredible from 8 to 5. I missed a pink to the middle at 8 to 7. Apart from that, I didn't do a lot wrong, but my head was spinning. The victory carries special significance as Higgins prepares for the World Championship. At 49, he becomes the oldest Tour Championship winner. No player has ever won both the Tour Championship and World Championship in the same season. His last Crucible title came in 2011. Currently ranked 6th in the world, he'll be seeded 3rd at the Worlds. Higgins' form suggests he could challenge for a 5th world title. His ability to outlast Selby in such dramatic fashion sends a clear message to the snooker world. The veteran still possesses the skill and determination to compete at the highest level. 12 months ago, Mark Selby stood at a crossroads. His first-round exit at the 2024 World Championship left him questioning his future in the sport. His own assessment was brutal, pathetic. Fast forward to April 2025, and the narrative has shifted dramatically. The 4-time world champion is now a prime contender for a 5th Crucible crown, carrying not just momentum, but the belief that he can shatter 2 long-standing snooker curses. Selby's resurgence has been built on cold, hard results. A commanding victory at the Welsh Open in February signaled his return to peak form. His performances at the ongoing Tour Championship in Manchester have only reinforced that notion. A 10-1 demolition of Neil Robertson in the quarter-finals, followed by a 10-2 thrashing of Ding Junhui in the semi-finals, showcased a player operating near his ruthless best. The statistics underline his dominance. Selby has compiled 67 century breaks this season, surpassing his previous career-high tally. His safety game, a hallmark of his success, has returned to its suffocating best after a shaky 2024. Stephen Hendry, the 7-time world champion, has taken notice, singling out Selby as his pick for this year's World Championship. But Selby's ambitions extend beyond mere victory. He is chasing history, aiming to break 2 curses that have dogged his career: his poor record in ITV televised events and the so-called Tour Championship jinx. No player has ever won the World Championship immediately after claiming the season's final event. For years, Selby's struggles in ITV's Players Series events have been a talking point among pundits. Despite his status as one of the sport's elite, his record in these tournaments has been curiously underwhelming. Before this season, his sole triumph in an ITV event came at the 2023 British Open, a victory that finally got the monkey off my back, as he said about it. The Players Series, comprising the World Grand Prix, top 32 on the one-year list, Players Championship, top 16, and Tour Championship, top 12, represents the toughest tests in snooker. Selby's inability to consistently perform in these events has been a rare blemish on his otherwise stellar resume. Now, he stands on the verge of rewriting that narrative. A win in the Tour Championship final against John Higgins would not only secure his 4th title of the season, but also silence the critics who have long highlighted this anomaly in his career. The second curse is even more daunting. No player in snooker history has won the World Championship after claiming the Tour Championship, the final ranking event before the Crucible. The physical and mental toll of back-to-back tournaments has proven too much for even the greatest players. Selby, however, has form when it comes to defying such odds. In 2017, he became the last player to win consecutive ranking events, capturing the China Open and the World Championship in quick succession. That precedent fuels his belief that he can achieve the impossible once again. "If I win here, why can't I go to Sheffield and do the same?" Selby told Sportsboom. "I've had seasons where I've gone into the Crucible flying and lost early. Other times, I've struggled all year and then found my game there. It's the ultimate test, but I don't see why history has to repeat itself." The final in Manchester pits Selby against John Higgins, a fellow 4-time world champion and one of the sport's most enduring competitors. Their rivalry stretches back nearly 2 decades, with 2 World Championship finals of 2007 and 2017, and numerous other high-stakes encounters defining their battles. Higgins arrives in confident mood, having ended a ranking title drought at the World Open just weeks earlier. That victory, his 32nd, reignited his belief after a painful collapse in the 2022 Tour Championship final, where he led Neil Robertson 9-4 before losing 6 consecutive frames. Selby, meanwhile, is chasing his own milestones. A 25th ranking title would draw him level with Neil Robertson on the all-time list. It would also mark the first time since 2016/17 that he has lifted 4 trophies in a single season. Their most recent meeting at the Welsh Open in February ended in a deciding frame win for Selby. Higgins, though, has shown signs of rediscovering his best form. Selby said, "He's one of my all-time favorite players. For him to still be competing at this level is incredible. It's a chance for me to judge where my game is." While Selby and Higgins dominate the headlines, other subplots have emerged at the Tour Championship. Kyron Wilson's quarterfinal against Ding Junhui was interrupted by an unusual delay when the Warrior suffered a nosebleed mid-frame. Play was suspended for 25 minutes as Wilson received treatment. Upon returning, he lightened the mood with a quip. "I'm sure when we finished, there was a red over the pocket." The snooker world watches with anticipation as Xiao Xintong, the Chinese prodigy once heralded by Ronnie O'Sullivan as a future legend, prepares for his competitive return. The 27-year-old has served a 20-month suspension for his involvement in snooker's 2023 match-fixing scandal that implicated 10 Chinese players. His comeback could begin as early as April's World Championship qualifiers.
One.
Xiao's fall from grace came at the worst possible moment. In December 2021, he captured the UK Championship title, defeating Luca Brissell 10-5 in the final. This victory propelled him to a career-high world number, 9th ranking in April 2022. 3 months later, he added the German Masters crown to his achievements, whitewashing Yan Bingtao 9-0 in a stunning display of dominance. Ronnie O'Sullivan's admiration for Xiao became evident after that German Masters triumph. O'Sullivan told this to reporters, "The last time I was this excited about a player was when I saw Stephen Hendry play when I was only about 9 years old. I remember watching Stephen play in some festival in Hastings and you knew he was special. And for me, Xiao is the only one since that made me think he could be something special."
Ronnie's done a little bit with him. When he's on it, shall we say, he probably, besides him, the best ball striker I've seen. You know, they're so natural, you know, and...
He's banned right now, unfortunately, but
yeah,
he'll be back.
I think he's back. I think he's got to go to Q School. Is it this year or next year? I think it's this year, isn't it? I'm not sure, but...
O'Sullivan's praise didn't stop there. He added, "He is super good now, but could be an unplayable great if he were to brush up on certain things. And that is up to him. Does he want to be open to that and do the work? Because Xiao can be as good as he wants to be, he has got the game in his hands. As he develops, he will handle the pressure situations even better than now." The match-fixing scandal that derailed Xiao's career involved multiple Chinese players. While Xiao didn't personally fix any matches, he admitted to betting on a game he knew had been manipulated. This distinction proved crucial. While Yan Bingtao received a 7.5-year ban for direct involvement in match-fixing, Xiao's punishment was reduced to 20 months. During his suspension, Xiao maintained his dedication to the sport. "These 2 years have been very long for me. I've practiced every day," he told the BBC in November. "2 years ago, I made a little mistake. Now I've come back. I know how important snooker is to me, and now I just want to come back to the snooker table." Stephen Hendry has already identified Xiao as a potential threat in the upcoming World Championship. Speaking on the Snooker Club podcast, the 7-time world champion said, "Apparently he's in the top 5 with the betting for the whole thing. If he gets through, then it'll be really interesting to see how he does." Hendry emphasized the challenge Xiao presents. There's a whole load you could say that you don't want in the first round of the World Championship. It's different from the late 80s and early 90s where you could forget the first 2 rounds because you'd breeze through it. But there will be 1 or 2 who will be good draws. Everyone else will be tough. The Scottish legend also echoed O'Sullivan's assessment of Xiao's potential. There are only a handful of players in the game who really stand out when you watch them play, and you think they've got that little stardust, that star quality. There's lots of great players who make lots of centuries, but they don't look like that. They don't have that little bit extra. Xiao Xintong, when he plays like that, has got that. He's got the X factor. Xiao's technical abilities have never been in question. His fluid cue action and natural break-building prowess drew comparisons to snooker's all-time greats during his rise. His 2021 UK Championship victory saw him become only the 4th non-British player to win the event after Ding Junhui, Neil Robertson, and Luca Brecel. The Chinese star's suspension period saw significant changes in the snooker landscape. The emergence of players like Luca Brecel as world champion and the continued dominance of O'Sullivan have reshaped the hierarchy Xiao must now re-enter. His ranking has plummeted during his absence, meaning he'll need to qualify for major tournaments through qualifying rounds. Xiao remains confident in his ability to compete at the highest level. He stated, "I knew I would come back, so I need to keep confident in myself. I believe that if I play well, then I can beat anybody. I'm just going to try my best." The World Snooker Tour has implemented stricter anti-corruption measures since the 2023 scandal. All players now undergo enhanced education programs about betting regulations and match-fixing risks. Xiao's return will be closely monitored as both a test case for rehabilitated players and a potential boost to the sport's popularity in China. His comeback coincides with increased interest in Asian snooker. The 2023 to 2024 season has seen Chinese players achieve notable successes, with Zhang Anda winning the international championship and Ding Junhui returning to form. Xiao's presence could further strengthen this momentum. The practical challenges of Xiao's return shouldn't be underestimated. 20 months away from competitive play represents a significant gap in modern snooker. While he's maintained practice routines, match sharpness can only be regained through tournament play. The pressure of his first matches back will be intense, with media scrutiny inevitable. Bookmakers have already installed Xiao among the favorites for the World Championship, reflecting both his past achievements and the respect he commands from peers. This faith stems from his pre-ban performances, where he demonstrated an ability to compete with and defeat the world's best players.
Well, I mean, I wasn't happy when he equaled my 7. I mean, right. People asked me before, and I said, no, I don't want. Of course, I don't want him to equal my record. It was my record. When I was talking to Ronnie on the thing, I said, surely you must now. It's all about winning 8, right? Because when I won 6 to equal Steve, the next day I said I have to win 7. Ronnie being Ronnie, he deflected it a little bit and didn't want to admit, but I know he does. I know he wants to win 8. And then he will be the GOAT, obviously.
The snooker world faces an unprecedented question as the 2025 World Championship approaches. Will Ronnie O'Sullivan compete? The 7-time world champion hasn't been seen in tournament play since his dramatic exit from January's Championship League, where frustration led him to smash his cue. This incident marked the beginning of an extended absence that has seen him miss every major event since, including the Masters, where he was defending champion. Stephen Hendry, another 7-time Crucible King, remains convinced O'Sullivan will appear. "I've got a sneaky suspicion he is going to play." Hendry said this on the Snooker Club podcast. He went further, suggesting O'Sullivan could achieve the unthinkable. Ronnie just decides he's going to turn up at the Worlds and wins it. It would be an unbelievable story, and he's that good. Hendry's confidence stems from history. In 2013, O'Sullivan took a year-long sabbatical before returning to claim the world title. Hendry recalled their exchange at the time. He messaged me and said, "Do you think I can still come back and do it?" I said, "Of course you can. All you need is a month's solid practice." The Scot believes the same formula could work now, though acknowledges greater challenges. He was a much younger man, and there weren't the players around that are in such form. The current snooker landscape features multiple in-form contenders. Judd Trump has dominated the season, while Kieran Wilson defends his world title. Neil Robertson and John Higgins have rediscovered their best games, and Mark Selby remains a perennial threat. Hendry initially tipped Selby before considering O'Sullivan's potential. There's 6 or 7 easily you could count, and maybe more that are capable of winning it.
Who could stop the Rocket winning the 8th? 2 players that have beaten him this season, both in his half of the draw. Zhang Anda, who lost. Mark Williams beat him in the Tour Championship final, lost. He's got Judd Trump in the semi-final, possibly, if both make it through. Judd hasn't beaten him, I think, since 2020. Ronnie, after his press conference, was very, very sort of confident. He's going to keep playing, see what he can win. So yeah, big message thrown out to the likes of Trump, Mark Allen, Mark Selby, who also lost, by the way, shadow of his former self. Whether that was a veiled message, as with a few of them possible breakaways happening. We'll have to keep our eyes open for that. Listen, the big question, as always, who could stop the Rocket winning the 8th?
Bookmakers share Hendry's cautious optimism. Betfair lists O'Sullivan as 7-1 joint favorite alongside Trump and Wilson. Remarkable odds for a player who hasn't competed in months. The betting reflects both O'Sullivan's unparalleled talent and his proven ability to triumph after breaks. Equipment concerns linger. O'Sullivan destroyed his previous cue during January's meltdown, leaving questions about his current setup. Hendry said, "I don't know what his cue situation is because he smashed his last one.